40inbox.com here, and we're going to be reacting to a story where a girl cut her hands open and became debt-free. So, the title of the article, When a Shower Door Sliced My Hands Open, I used $23,000 from renter's insurance to pay off my student loans, and now I'm debt-free. And this is, I guess, actually written by this individual. And this individual is like Kirsten Conway. Okay. So in May 2018, I graduated with my bachelor's degree from the University at Albany, State University of New York, and was ready to find a job. My first thought, once the high of completing undergrad had passed, was, how will I pay off my student loans? I'm sure this is the case for many recent grads. When I started off in the workforce, I was making $35,000 and living at home with my grandparents. I lived life like none of the money I earned or saved was mine, putting every spare penny toward my student loan debt. I know some people say there's such a thing as good debt, including student loans, but I do not have a financial safety net. My family is supportive with love, but has struggled financially for years. I didn't want to risk having this debt over my head forever. The accident that changed my life. During this time, my boyfriend of 3 years moved to Manhattan and was renting a small 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment with a few friends I was going to visit every other weekend and enjoying the city on a budget, still extremely careful with the money I was spending. In September 2019, on a Sunday, my boyfriend and I went back to his apartment to get cleaned up. Apparently, my boyfriend's shower door had been tight for weeks. When I got in, it had opened easily. But I then had to push it hard to close it. I had both of my hands on the shower door when the bottom wheel popped off and the shower door shattered. I sliced both of my hands wide open. After getting stitches and x-rays, seeing a neurologist, meeting with an occupational therapist, and going to several follow-up appointments, I walked away with nerve damage in my right thumb and permanent scarring. Luckily for me, my boyfriend had renter's insurance through Lemonade. As soon as we got back from the hospital, I pushed my boyfriend to make a claim. Without doing this, my medical bills would have been through the roof. Ultimately, after several months of doctor appointments and negotiating, I settled with Lemonade for $23,250 in addition to what they paid for my medical costs. That was just a couple $100 less than what I owed for the remainder of my student loans. That money changed my life. And I've been building my net worth ever since. I immediately used my settlement money to pay off my student loans in full. After that, I started putting all my spare cash in savings and investments to build my net worth. Since then, I've been able to save about $50,000. I opened a 401k and a Roth individual retirement account, and am now able to put my money away for the future. Something that I didn't see myself doing for another 10 or more years. My goal is to max out my Roth IRA every year so I can have a chance at retiring. Because I'm out of debt, the idea of buying a house is no longer just a dream. I can save for my dream honeymoon. I don't have to worry about credit card debt. My credit score is now at 793 and is only going up. At the end of the day, because of that settlement, I was able to become debt-free at 25 years old. All the pain and the suffering and the permanent scarring and nerve damage was worth being free from student loan debt. So, this is actually an interesting story, and this kind of goes to show you just how much of a weight and chain debt actually is, right? This is why you need to build a very strong financial foundation, which means you need to get out of debt. You need to build an emergency fund, and you need to start investing, which you can learn how to do that by going to 40inbox.com. Because this is the thing. You want to be free, right? You want to have more options available to you, and you can't really do that if you have a massive amount of debt over your shoulders, right? And now it could be student loan debt, it could be credit card debt, right? It could be a personal loan to maybe a family member or a friend, right? Or it could be a loan that you took out for a business that you wanted to start. When you have debt on your shoulders, you are basically a slave to that individual or to that institution, right? Like you have no more freedom, right? Because you're always going to be worrying about, okay, I need to pay this bill. I need to wake up every single day at this specific time to go work to make money so that I could pay this bill, right? And having this amount of debt will actually end up causing people to not go after their goals, their dreams in life, which is a very depressing thing, right? Because you do not want to get yourself in a situation where you end up putting your life on hold because you have debt, right? You don't want to put your dreams on hold because you have debt, right? Like that is a very depressing situation, and it's a situation that a lot of people deal with. And if you end up stumbling upon this episode, you probably deal with it as well, right? In some form, in some amount, right? Debt is like an anchor that's tied to your ankle and you're getting pushed into the ocean, right? Into the endless deep ocean. Like the only way that you're going is down, right? And you're going to go down fast. And you're basically going to feel like you're drowning and drowning and drowning. Like debt is a very cumbersome thing. And a lot of people don't really think that it's actually that serious until they realize just how much money they actually have. So if you end up stumbling upon this episode for whatever reason, all I want you to do is take 5 minutes and look up total how much debt you actually have. For those that end up listening to this, right? Or you could share this with someone, right? Who needs to hear this. Just take 5 minutes and write down everything that you owe. That's credit cards, that's student loans, that's a mortgage, that's a car loan, right? Everything. It might be a loan on a couch that you bought from like Rooms to Go, right? Because once you see that total number, you're going to get scared. And it's going to be a pretty hard feeling to actually describe, but almost like it's like you're breathless, or like you have like no energy to even speak about anything, because there's so many people that just make the payment without ever actually realizing just how much debt they actually owe. And you might end up realizing, whoa, I literally owe more money than I make. I literally owe more in a monthly payment than I bring in per month. And once you see that, if you see that, you're like, oh, okay, I need to change something about my life and really get my life on track because it's that bad. So if you need help with mastering your money, learn the secret to mastering your money in the description of this episode, or go to 40inbox.com, where we help you master your money, because no one should be pushed into the ocean with an anchor tied to their ankle.